Sometimes life lets you down and you feel that you are done. You just want a morning run because the fun is all gone. But sometimes life makes you proud when you look far and wide, when you leave the pain behind and see the brighter side. TNC gives you inspiration. TNC reignites your passion. TNC starts your transformation. TNC helps you see the new you.
The new channel. The new channel. The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following show are those of the hosts, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is iBusiness show. I'd like to welcome you all tonight. My co-host, Mike Chua. How you doing?
Very good. Again, this is Mike Chua streaming live from Martin, Tennessee. This
Bert
is
Rivera, live from Texas. This is iBusiness. All right. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing good. How about you there, Bert?
Can't complain, man. Any day above ground is a good day.
Any day
I'm
above
just happy to
ground
be
is a
alive.
good day.
I'm just happy to be alive.
What's going on there in Texas?
Nothing much. Same old. It's been hot lately. As you say, it's hot here in Texas. Lately, it's been about 95 to almost 100 to 105 with heat index. So, but we have AC. So for those of you who are complaining, oh, it's hot in Texas, I always tell them, have you heard of AC?
Air conditioning, huh? 100
Exactly.
degrees? Oh gosh. I
Yeah.
see Jen Rosario. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate you. You are so very religiously watching us. I really appreciate
Good morning, Jen. Thanks for watching us. Appreciate it.
Well, anyway, 102. Let me check our temperature here in Tennessee. Martin, Tennessee temperature. What's 74 right now? It's not bad, you know. So 102. Oh gosh.
Yep.
Go ahead, Bert.
So, what's the temperature in Tennessee?
74 right now. Earlier this morning,
74.
80 something. It wasn't that bad.
Wow. So, do you wear anything like extra clothing at 74, or you're good?
I just take off my shirt, you know. I see you're wearing scrubs. Did you work today?
Yeah, I saw a patient today because they needed help. So you got to do what you got to do. That's money on the table, and You got to take care of the patients first. So, sometimes if I have to help, I have to help.
You gotta
You
help,
know.
right? Well,
So
I also saw some patients. I had like four today. I'm busy when I see four because I see them a
four
full
patients.
hour. Yep. I used to
All
do
right.
like 7 or 8, but four, I feel like I'm already tired. So, yep.
So are these Medicare Part B patients
It's part
or
B.
home health?
Every Tuesday and Thursday, I try to be in that facility, independent living facility. So we do part B. We have some home health there too, the part A
Right.
home health. But I use my system immediately if I needed to. But yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, guess what? You are our guest tonight. I will be
Yeah. Go
interviewing
ahead.
you tonight, Mike.
Well,
That's
I would
awesome.
like to apologize because our current guest for tonight, Katie Henry, she had some personal things to tend to. So I guess I am Bert's guest for tonight. So again, if you are watching live, please comment live. If you're watching on the replay, comment replay. But go ahead, Bert, ask me some questions.
Yeah, well, first, I'd like to welcome everybody who's watching us tonight, our friends and colleagues at the Alternative Career Groups, ACG. We have about more than 22,000 members in there.
Let
So
me
if you're
correct you.
watching tonight,
23 now.
I'm sorry,
23.
23,000 members in Alternative Career Group. These are colleagues, from the different industry as physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, PTAs, CODAs. Do we have athletic trainers there, Mike?
We have, yeah,
Okay,
several.
so tonight, guys, you're gonna see this story, or you're gonna hear the story of Mike Chua. You've probably been seeing him inside ACG doing videos almost every day, sharing with you tips on how to do stuff, side hustles. But tonight, we're gonna dig deeper on his story. We're gonna ask, the tough questions, about his career and why did he continue to keep ACG going? What's the mission and all that stuff? So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome our guest for tonight, no other than my beloved co-host, Dr. Mike Chua. All
Woohoo!
right,
Raise the
all
roof.
right, Mike.
Oh, I told her. All right. Well,
Okay,
yeah,
Mike.
thank you very much for having me in your show, Bert. I really appreciate you. It's my
Well, we're
pleasure
gonna
to
go.
be here.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure our folks at ACG and a lot of the listeners tonight, they want to know who really is Mike Chua. Okay, who's the real Mike Chua? What's your background and all that stuff? So with that said, why did you talk to us about your background? Where have you been, and how did you get to where you are right now?
You know what? That's a very big question, Bert. We've got so much stuff to share, but by trade, I am a physical therapist. I finished my physical therapy degree in the Philippines, 1999, and I never practiced physical therapy back home in the Philippines. Why? Because there was no job for us. I practiced self pity. When I pitied myself. But before I keep on going, I'm going to give a special shout out to Will Boyd, two of my favorite guys.
What
I
up,
think
Will?
is Will. So, yep, I practiced self pity, and I was like very, I'm just pitying myself. And after a year or two, and I actually found a good job as a pharmaceutical rep. Kept on applying and applying and applying. I even applied here in the States, and I got denied and denied and denied. So if you're back home in the Philippines and you think I got here easily, I got denied several times of a visit visa or B1 B2 visit visa,
Tourist visa.
tourist visa,
Yeah.
and then even my green card application. You know the story, Bert. I just kept on applying, keep pushing forward. So uh, Will said, "I never knew that you did practice." Yep, I didn't practice. I practice self PT, man. So I worked as a pharmaceutical rep for almost 10 years, and it was such a nice job where we traveled different places in the Philippines, different countries, and they around 2006. I found a company who sponsored, sent me here in the States. And I called some of my friends here in the States and I said, hey, what do you do there in the States? I'm going there. A company's sponsoring me to go there and visit. And they said, oh, I'm a physical therapist, Michael. I said, I'm a pharmaceutical rep. I travel around the world. I live, I have my own car here in the Philippines. But, in the Philippines, if you have a car, if a company gives you a car, you're pretty good, right? You're there, you're like, oh gosh, that's a good job. The company sending you to different countries. It was a really good job. And I called my friends, who's what do you call this, who are here in the States, and they were like physical therapists. And then I'm like, oh, how much do you earn there in the States? And they told me how much a therapist earned. I said, I gotta go back in therapy. And so I started reviewing. I took the board exam, actually, 2006, Bert, the US board exam. And you know what happened? I failed. I failed. And I thought I can do it. I failed. And I waited another, I think, 3-4 more years. And I decided to take, the exam again here in the States around 2010, 2011. I can't remember. And I finally passed the exam, and now I'm here in the States doing my own thing, working for different facilities, different companies. Now we have our small business wherein we provide different home health services, outpatient services, cash services, and stuff like that, and doing CEU classes. CEU classes are like we call continuing education units, wherein I teach and help other therapists to get their CEU units. So yeah, that's me, Bert. Now I'm here.
That's awesome, Mike. Thanks for sharing with us your story. I think I want to shift a little bit to our theme for tonight.
Shift or shift?
I want to shift. Shift.
Okay.
All right. So now, I think I want to talk about failure. Okay. You mentioned failure. You failed. You bounced back. You did it again. And I believe a lot of our colleagues here at ACG listening to us at some point in their lives have experienced failure. Okay. And probably most of our colleagues listening tonight might think that, oh, because I got laid off, because I got furloughed, I'm a failure. But I just want to encourage you guys, if you're listening tonight, you are not a failure. Okay. Failure is never a person. It is just an event. So Mike failed his exam and bounced back. And guess what? I failed too, but I bounced back. But does that define me? Does that failure in the exams define me? No, that was just an event. That means I just have to study more and what? Do better in the exam, right? And it doesn't really matter. It doesn't define you as a person, because when you see patients, the most important thing is, are you improving their quality of lives? They don't ask you, hey, Bert, so you're licensed PT, how many times did you take the exams? They don't ask that. What they care about is, how do you improve their quality of lives? How do you make them feel? Okay? So I just want to encourage you guys, keep moving. If you're feeling down tonight, okay, just keep moving forward, and stay positive. All right? So, Mike, don't sleep on me.
I said, yeah.
All right?
So down tonight.
Okay. So, tell us a story of your greatest failure in life and how you bounce back. Not the exam, right? Not the exam.
That is such a great question. And also a possible new title of a show, Bounce Back.
There you go.
Like that, Bounce Back Leadership or something like that, Well, anyway, you asked me about what is my biggest failure. I guess my biggest failure, there are different things in life, right? You got your family life, you got your financial life, you got your work life, and you got your spiritual life. All four of them, just like a chair or a stool, it's not going to stand up. It's going to be difficult to stand up if you don't have those four-legged stool or four-legged chair. You take one off, that chair will fall down. That chair will fall down. So every leg on that stool needs to be really balanced out. So I guess my biggest failure in my personal life is, I did get to spend a good time with my mom and dad, because of all this stuff that was going on, when I was growing up and everything. So you have to have that. You have to have that failure. I had that failure. The only way I was able to enjoy that time is when they were getting older, right? The next is the financial stuff. I started late saving. If you are right now, if you're working, you start saving now. Right now we have not a lot of savings because we're starting. We did it. I didn't start early. I didn't start saving early. So now we're just saving. So that was my one of the biggest failure too. And third, your spiritual life. I had all my failures. I didn't take care of my spiritual life, and now I try to be more closer to God, be more closer to who our Creator is. What's the last thing, Bert? Work. That is probably where I failed a lot. I get rejected a lot when I'm applying for a job, when I'm applying for different stuff. And does that stop us from moving forward? No. Even the disciples in the Bible, they have failed. David, he was a womanizer. Moses, I think he was a stutterer. Even Peter himself, he denied Jesus Christ 3 times. And like what Bert said, it doesn't matter how many times you failed or fallen or got sick. You just have to keep moving forward, keep pushing forward. And that's what I do. Every day I still fail, but we just get up and do this all over again. So, yeah.
Cool. So let's dive a little bit on the failure you had about work, because a lot of our colleagues here at ACG right now are probably, out of work, got fired, got laid off. So tell us about the time when you were let go of your company. How did you go through that? And how did you bounce back? And what are you doing now?
You know what? It's really hard to talk about that. Can we pass that question? No, just kidding.
Come on, Mike.
So it was really hard, when during that
So
time.
when did you get let go? When did they let you go?
So last year, during that time, I still had that job, right? And in our group, in the alternative groups group, a lot of people were just being let go already. And I never, what do you call this? I was like, oh, I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to be okay. And my wife would tell me, no, you don't know the feeling. I said, oh, I said I wasn't fired yet. I was still working for that company. And I was looking at all these stories in our group, and they were saying, oh, I got fired. And in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna encourage them like crazy. But it's so hard to actually understand that person if you yourself haven't gone through that actual situation.
That's
And
true.
and and during that time, I wasn't fired yet. I was like, oh, it's okay, you'll find another job, it's okay, move on forward. I was doing that with the group. And not until I got fired myself, and there were no person who could actually comfort me because of that situation. Obviously God and my wife comforted me, but it was so hard to move on. I was on that denial stage. I went through that Kubler-Ross denial, or that grief. I was in that denial stage. I was like, oh gosh, me, Michael Chua, Dr. Mike Chua, was let go. Oh, I had a big question mark. And I felt angry. So I was like, gosh, I helped them. I interviewed them and everything. I promoted them. I did almost everything for them. I went and traveled to different places for them. And you know what? They just let me go. And so I started in my mind. I started bargaining. I was trying to bargain in my mind. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm gonna look for another job. I'm gonna look for this and that. And I started being depressed. And if you got fired, type in you got fired, or type in yes or whatever. But I started being depressed, and I'm like, oh gosh, I cannot do this. I cannot be depressed. And to the point that I moved on to the next stage, which is acceptance, that I just have to move on forward and just keep on pushing forward. Now, when I got fired, I had businesses behind me already, but it wasn't a full-time gig that time. I had those side hustle, like what Bert was teaching me that time. I had those, side stuff, but it wasn't a full-time gig for me. The full-time was still working for someone else. And then when they fired me, I felt some sort of a relief that I had this, what you call the safety net, because I had that side hustle. So that side hustle actually survived. I survived because of those side business and side hustles I had. The Medicare Part B, some of the online stuff that I do, or I teach online, the CEU classes and everything. So we actually survived. And I just realized, oh gosh, I can actually survive without working for someone else. Now I'm not working for someone else. So I'm like, okay, I'm just doing this now. So, and to tell the truth, ladies and gentlemen, not to brag, I got more money now than when I was working full time, 40 hours a week. Now I'm like working, I'm working part time. I go out after lunch and see patients after lunch. And I have more money now because I have that business. I have that side hustle. I have this online thing that we move on. So again, first of all, I would like to thank Bert, because he was the one who actually encouraged me. Hey, you can do this, man. It's so easy. Starting your own business, and if you're still in that on the edge, thinking to start your own business, jump. Just take that leap of faith. Take that risk. Obviously, take a calculated risk and just jump and move on forward. And that's where we get stuck. We get stuck on that analysis paralysis. We get stuck, okay, let's go back and start working again for someone else. And then that's, again, it's another cycle of you getting burned out in that job, getting burned out, oh, it's the same thing. And it's like a wound, you got a wound there and you still want to keep on, you're mending it, yes, and then you still want to keep on opening it. And guess what? It's going to be a cycle if you continue to be an employee. There's nothing wrong being an employee, don't get me wrong. But if you really want financial freedom, if you really want more time with your family, if you really want to move on and go to your next level of success when it comes to your business or to your personal or career life, you gotta start your own business, because you will learn so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, Mike, for sharing that to our audience. And before we continue sharing with you the different types of side hustles available out there, that's going to be exciting. So don't go anywhere, guys, because in a minute, we're going to show you what can you do as a therapist and what are the options out there, okay? It's all about mindset. It's all about knowing what your options are, all right? So we're going to do that after this quick break. right, we are back. Okay, so I can still hear the background music. Um, Welcome back to iBusiness Show, guys. All right. Okay, so there we go. That's our cue. Welcome back to iBusiness Show. Thank you for joining us. Can you hear me, Mike?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. I think that was the Facebook feedback over there. So, okay. So
Stop watching yourself.
I'm actually sharing us live on Facebook. That's what I'm doing. So anyway, before we continue asking you questions, I just want to share real quick the mindset, difference between an employee and an entrepreneur. And I want to share this not to put down someone who's in the worker mindset, but to somehow give you something to think about. Okay? Because whether we like it or not, guys, if you're working for someone, you are at the mercy of your employer. You are at the mercy of the corporation. Okay? You're waiting for them to give you a job, and sometimes you feel betrayed when they can't even give you a job anymore, and they have to let you go, and they have to lay you off or furlough you, right? And that's a normal feeling because you give your all, you work for them and all that. But here's the truth. Your employer doesn't owe you anything as far as providing you a job for the rest of your life. The job of your employer is to give you, something to do while they're hiring you, while they're paying you for your time, and hoping that what they pay you is worth their investment in you so they can make a profit. So the moment your employer doesn't make a profit, guess what? They can let you go. They have to let you go because it wouldn't make sense to keep paying you when there's not enough profit. They're not doing this business as a hobby. Again, if you're not making money as a business, then you don't have a business. You have a hobby. So your boss or the corporate you're working for, they're the entrepreneur. Okay? They're the ones doing the business. Now, how do you change your situation from being a worker to becoming an entrepreneur? You have to change your mindset. Okay? As an entrepreneur, you go out there, you bet on yourself, you make things happen, you look for opportunities on how you can leverage yourself. Okay? Leverage is the name of the game. What do I mean by that? If you have to do all the work yourself, then you don't have leverage. You're trading your time for money, and therefore you still have a job, you still own a job. Okay? When you get sick, which in my case happened to me, I got the COVID virus July 2nd, and I was out for 42 days. Imagine being out for 42 days with no income coming. That's going to be a huge, setback, right? But I'm not saying this to brag. I was just blessed that in those 42 days, when I was sick, money was still coming in because I had set up a business that continues to bring in revenue. Okay. Now, if I can do that, I'm a guy from the Philippines, thousands of miles away. Why can't you do that? Okay. You can do that. It's just a matter of wanting it and learning what's out there. What's the business model for you? So with that said, I'm going to bring back my guest for tonight. Mike, come on in. And why don't you share with us the different business models that you think our listeners can leverage, wherein they can hire other people to work for them and still make money and still have a chance to see patients if they want to, not because they have to.
You know what? Let me just go back to about you talk about mindset. I mean, you don't have to start big. You don't have to start big. You can start a small side hustle, because I always tell this to my kids. It's not about the destination. Yes, we always look at the destination in life, but it's the process. It's the journey that you have to enjoy. When you have a business, you're enjoying that journey of learning along the way, and learning the process and everything. And it's not like what I said, it's not about the destination. It's about you, the process, what's happening to you. And same thing in like what he asked me earlier, same thing with the failures you have in life. It's not about that failure. It's how you become. What, and it's what happens to you after that failure. That's so powerful there. So speaking of that, Bert was asking about the different ways for us to start your own business, especially in the therapy field. You have like four different types of sources of income. First is you get a contract with different home health agencies. The second is you have your own outpatient Part B or outpatient clinic. Third is, you provide those wellness services. What are those wellness services? Cash services, personal training. Basically, you're providing a non-skilled services. And then fourth is you're providing what you call those waiver Medicaid program. And all four of those, I have them. I have a contract with different home health agencies. I see them. I send my PTA to do the treatments, and I make money a little bit out of those PTA treatments, like what Bert had. I was quarantined for like several days too, and then I had to delegate those treatments and those evaluation to my staff, and I still had a little bit of money coming in, even though I was here at home. That makes sense. So same thing with having your own clinic. You can still hire people under you and start your own small little clinic. Same thing with having a wellness services. Wellness services are basically, regular exercising and stuff like that. And you can send your personal trainer or your physical therapist assistant and start charging cash for your wellness services. And last is what you call the waiver program, wherein you can provide therapy services for those patients who have those waiver Medicaid program. So yeah, we have all four of those.
Great.
Bert?
Yeah. Mike, can you hear me? Is my mic
I
working?
can hear you.
Okay, great. So for those of you guys who want to know how to get started in any of those, you can reach out to Mike or myself, and we will point you in the right direction, okay? My cup of tea is home health contracting. I've been doing home health contracting since 2003, so it's about 17 years now. I've been a PT since 1998. So,
I wasn't born yet that time.
I know, right? I know you're going to say that. So I've been a PT for 22 years. So if you guys want to know what the heck is home health contracting, reach out to me. I'm here in the ACG group. Send me a PM, and I will give you free videos on how it works, okay? I will send you those free videos. Mike can send you those free videos. He actually has those videos. And then if you have any questions, you can reach out to me, and we can discuss, we can talk over the phone and talk about your situation. You just have to start somewhere, guys. So now with that said, let me show you real quick. Let me recap the loop. Okay, what is the loop? Here is how you're going to keep patients under your business. Okay, first part of the loop is home health contracting, which is part A. Okay, with home health contracting, like what I do, I don't really bill Medicare. I bill the home health agencies. So when the patient is on home health and then they get discharged, but they still need physical therapy or occupational therapy or speech therapy, guess what? You can catch them under Part B. That is assuming you have a Part B credentialing. Okay, you don't have to have a clinic. You can do Part B mobile with Medicare, and this time you can bill Medicare Part B. You can either do the billing yourself, learn from someone who does it, or outsource the billing. In my case, I outsource the billing. Why? Because the billing company I use, they charge about 10%. If my bill for Part B is, let's say, $100, I pay the billing company $10. I keep $90. Why will I spend, an hour or so doing the billing, or even if it's just a few minutes, but you never know if that billing will come back at you and Medicare will say, hey, you need to correct this, blah, blah, blah. Then your 10 minutes of billing will now become at least an hour back and forth. Who knows? But what I'm trying to say is I'm not a biller. I'm a physical therapist. I'm a clinician. I'm a businessman. Okay? Doing billing is another animal. Okay? So in my case, I'd rather...
What kind of animal, Bert?
I'd rather give the $10 to a billing company, take home 90, and concentrate on growing my business. But that's just me, all right? So what's next? So Part A, home health, and then Part B, what's next? Now you catch that patient in wellness program when there's no longer a medical necessity. Let's say the patient tells Mike, hey, Mike, I really like you. I know you're going to discharge me from mobile Part B. How do I get you to come and see me? Well, Mrs. Johnson, let's say that's the patient's name, Mrs. Johnson, we can continue with wellness program either once a week or once every 2 weeks, but that's going to be cash basis and it's not something medical. It's going to be like a wellness program, like going to the gym. We can come up with a program for you. And if that's okay with you, we'll do that. So patient now is in the wellness program. So home health, part B, and now wellness program, right? And maybe if they have Medicaid, like Mike said, you can do that too. If they don't have Medicaid and they're in the wellness program, and for some reason they decline, and they need medical, they have medical necessity again, and they have to be picked up for physical therapy again, guess what? They go back in the loop, either through home health or mobile Medicare Part B again, and on and on and on and on. That's how you keep the patient in the loop. Does that make sense, Mike?
Definitely, and that is actually what we do. That's what I do. So I got that idea from Bert, and so if you are really interested in learning our business model, go ahead and reach out to Bert. Shoot us a message, and we'll teach you how to start your own small little business. And you'll never know. My goal is to be like Bert, have like at least 100 employees.
And I want to be like Mike.
So you want to be like me? Yeah. We can swap bank accounts if you want to.
So, guys, if you're burned out with your career as a therapist, I'm telling you, you just have to restructure. Okay, you don't have to throw in the towel. Okay, you just have to restructure. There's different ways where you can monetize your career, your profession as a therapist. The problem is we were, somehow we were
conditioned.
What do you call this? Conditioned. We were conditioned in school where you finish your degree, you get your license, and look for a job. That was the mindset that was given to us, right? I mean, right, Mike? You agree? Right?
Yeah. Well, the profession itself is actually originally is a technician.
Exactly.
We were made to be technicians. We were actually an extender of nurses, and we were trained to follow the physician's order. And up until now, we still have that mindset. Now that we are a doctoring profession, we're realizing, oh gosh, yeah, we can technically own our own business. There was a time people who owned the therapy clinics were physicians. And now, obviously, because we were realizing slowly but surely, therapists can own their own clinics too. And that's the beauty of this. You can start your own clinic. If you're a PT, OT, speech, or whether you're a PTA or a CODA, you can actually definitely start your own small little practice. If you're an assistant, you can hire a PT to do the eval and you can do the treatment. Well, guess what? Businesses, they don't have to know everything. It's like, let's say the hospital administrator. They're not physicians. They're administrators, and they delegate those different stuff in their facility. Even physicians themselves, they don't do everything. The physicians who are actually, they own their own clinic, they don't do everything. They don't check your patient's blood pressure. Yes, if they're cardiologists, but most of the time it was the nurses. Are they also the receptionist? No, they have a receptionist there. They have a nurse, and then they finally see the patient. If you're the physician. Same thing with being a therapist. If you just learn how to delegate, because if you don't delegate, you die. You do everything. I do Bert too. I have a billing company that I pay. I have an administrative assistant that takes care of everything for me. Just last night, I trained her how to do some payroll stuff. And if I have to do it, well, guess what? I would rather pay somebody, to do it quickly, and then I can do a more productive thing. So yeah, like this show, right?
Well, thanks, Mike, for sharing with us your process and what you're doing with your business. Guys, with that said, I want you to somehow reflect on how important is your time, for you. How important is your time? How much do you value your per hour? Do you think your per hour is only $10 an hour? No. You didn't go to therapy school to get paid $10 an hour, right? So if you're doing a task that's only worth $10 an hour, that means you're giving up your ability to make more than $10 by taking that time away from building your business, growing your business, and here you are doing a clerical work. Okay? There's nothing wrong with doing clerical work if that's what you want to do, but what I'm trying to say is you're too expensive as a therapist to do a $10 job. Okay? You're shortchanging yourself.
That's
Okay?
true.
You got to change your mindset. I don't mow my lawn. I pay someone $20 to mow our lawn. Not that I can't do it. I can. But why would I mow my lawn for $20 if I can go out there, grow my business in physical therapy, and get more clients, or look into a house that I can flip and make thousands of dollars if I like the house? You see what I'm saying? That 1 hour of doing lawn mowing for $20 is not worth my time. All right? So, with that said, I think it's time for another break. And after a quick break, we'll come back and we will talk to you about action traction. What can you do to move forward? All right? Let's take a quick break. All right, and we are back. Mike, you doing all right?
I'm doing good.
All right. I'm feeling good, like I should, right? You know that song? I like that
No,
song.
it wasn't my generation.
That's a new song, Mike. Anyway, so we have about 10 minutes left in our show, and I'd like to take this opportunity to have Mike share with us what are the steps that our colleagues or our listeners can do to make things happen. Because a lot of our colleagues, I'm pretty sure, have this fear of, gosh, am I really cut out to do this? Gosh, do I need to invest money in doing something like this or whatever it is they want to do? Gosh, I'm laid off, I'm furloughed, I don't have money. How can I start? What do I need to do? So, Mike, I want you to take it away. What would you do if you were to start from scratch and you lost everything? What are you going to do?
Oh gosh, that is such a big question there. That's a very, very good question. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to teach you a very, very practical way. When you are being interviewed, this is what you do. When you are being interviewed, and then you don't know the answer to the question, you always want to ask. Well, you always want to reply with, "That is a good question." So if you don't know the answer to that question, because I have lots of people calling me, "Hey Michael, can I interview you in my show, etc., etc." They would interview me, and I would always answer back, "That is a good question," while I'm thinking about the answer. Well, anyway, Bert asked me if I was gonna do it all over again. If I was gonna do it all over again, I would look for a mentor. Not because I teach that class, mentor, mentor, but I would look for someone who is actually going to believe in me, who is actually going to tell me, hey, Michael, this is not right. Hey, Michael, this is good. Because you really have to choose the person who actually guides you and mentors you. That's the reason why I reached out to Bert. Bert, I don't know him personally. When I bought his course, I don't know him, but somebody recommended him to me. That Greg Todd told me, hey, Michael, you got to reach out to this dude, Filipino too, et cetera, et cetera.
Thank
And
you,
he
Greg.
recommended
Love
him
you,
to me.
bro.
What?
I said thank you, Greg Todd. I love you.
Yeah, yeah, Greg Todd, we love you, man. So my coach recommended another coach, and I said, well, do I really need to get this and that? But yeah, you really need to find those people who will actually believe in you. I had friends who I was surrounded by other Filipino friends, and their best interest wasn't right. All they did or do was like pull you down, tell negative stuff, and stuff like that. If you hang out in a barber shop, I always tell you this: if you hang out in a barber shop, one way or another, you're gonna get your hair cut. If you hang out with people who are actually gonna pull you down, guess what? You're gonna be down too. You just try this. Right now, my mom and dad has passed away, and I haven't been to a funeral lately. If you haven't been to a funeral lately, and you have a normal life right now, go to a funeral. You will see eventually you will be sad too. There's nothing wrong with death and everything, okay? But if you go there, you will feel that sadness. You will feel that depression too. And you want to surround yourself with people who are actually going to believe in you and going to push you. So that's my first recommendation, what like Bert said. Find a person that you want to mimic. Find that person that you want to be like. So if you want to start your own business like Bert, follow him. That's what I did. I followed him. If you want to start your business like in a speaking business, go look for somebody who's actually a good speaker.
Like
If you
Lloyd.
want to start a business, opening up whatever, a bank. Well, guess what? Are you going to ask a barber? No, you're going to ask a banker, right? If you're gonna ask somebody, hey, I want to start my own insurance company, obviously you're going to ask an insurance guy. Well, guess what? When you're asking an insurance guy, when you're asking a therapist who wants to start a business, you know, you need to look for somebody who is actually going to be invested in you. And same thing with that. You also have to invest time. You also have to invest money on that person itself. Guess what? Do you think Bert's going to hang out with me if I didn't invest it in him? You got to invest time. You got to invest time. You got to invest money. You have to have skin in the game, ladies and gentlemen. You have to invest in yourself too. Just like working out, you're not going to lose weight even though you paid that personal trainer like thousands of dollars if you yourself is not invested on it, right? So you have to do it yourself too. You can pay somebody to mow a lawn, but you cannot pay somebody to do your push-ups. Like Bert, I pay somebody to mow my lawn too, but I still have to do my part. I still have to make money on my side so I can pay that guy who mows my lawn. Same thing like with that. You can pay somebody to mow your lawn, but you cannot pay somebody to do your own push-ups. You got to do your own part too, ladies and gentlemen. If you really want to be successful in life, you have to do your part. You have to do your part. You have to do the dirty stuff. The actual hustling, ladies and gentlemen. And that's my recommendation. Take action. You take action. Bert?
All right. Well, thanks, Mike, for sharing with us the tips on what would you do if you start all over again. Those are really, really, good advice for our colleagues. And I just want to elaborate more on that as far as investing in yourself.
Can you spell
Guys,
elaborate?
huh?
I said,
Was
can you
that-
spell elaborate?
Elaborate, right? Spelling bee. All right, so guys, talk about investing in yourself. This is where I'm really, really. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I don't understand why some people don't want to invest in themselves. Okay, we spent a lot of money going to PT school, and probably a lot of you are still paying student loans, right? Hundreds of thousands of dollars, $100,000, $150,000. And yet, some people don't want to invest in themselves to pay someone even just a fraction of $100,000 a fraction of $150,000 to improve their ability to make money and get out of the 9 to 5 job. I don't get that. Okay? Do you expect someone to mentor you for free? If you expect that, yeah, someone might mentor you for free, but not for a long time. I'm going to tell you right now, because that time they're spending with you is time away from their family. You think our professors in physical therapy school, OT school, and speech therapy school, you think they went to the universities for free to teach us to be therapists? Hell no. They
Where are
got
you,
paid,
man?
right? So ask yourself, will you mentor someone for free for a long period of time? I don't mind giving advice here and there. I'm not going to nickel and dime you, but if you're going to require my time more than a piece of advice, hey, I have to charge you. My time is not free, because once I give you that time, I don't get it back. It's time I took away from my family. Will you do that for free? If your answer is no, then do not expect someone to do it free for you. You get what you pay for. You spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in PT, OT, SLP school. Do not expect not to spend on something to improve yourself. No. Okay? If that's your mindset, then you're not going to get the help you need. All right? I paid a coach $11,000 recently to help me on something. You know, I walk the walk, I talk the talk. Okay? Because I know I need that. All right? It's lesser than what I paid for PT school. Mike does that too. Okay? And all the coaches you see around you, they invested money to improve themselves. All right? No, so now talking about improving yourselves, here at iBusiness, we are all about improving your impact in our industry. So Mike, the last question is yours. How can you improve your impact in our industry?
Well, before I answer that, that's a good question. Well, I just would like to harp on what Bert said. You really have to invest in yourself, ladies and gentlemen. If we provide free information here in our group, the Alternative Courage Group. We have free interviews, mind you. I do free stuff. This thing here is free, and but if you really want to dive deep into it, you really have to invest in yourself, ladies and gentlemen. We do like very affordable stuff. We have like $10, $20 courses, webinars in our group. But if you really want to push on forward, you really have to invest. Like Bert, and he invested recently $11,000 for a private coaching. I invested, I think almost $3,000 for a speaker coach. I invested $5,000 for somebody to teach me how to write a book, and it's all about investing in yourself. Same thing in just like opening up a business. You can't expect McDonald's to give you their business franchise, their model, and whatever without you actually investing on them. Same thing with coaching. Same thing with starting a business. Same thing with whatever. Same thing with, just like, for example, you're asking your wife for marriage, right? You cannot expect her to marry you on your first day. You got to invest on her. I invested on my wife. I took her out on a date. She took me out on a date. She paid for everything. Shout out to my beautiful wife. She took me out on a date. She paid everything for me. She invested on me, and she saw a potential in me. And same thing with that. You got to look at the potential of that coach. You got to look at the potential of that business, because without that potential, guess what? You're just wasting your money. You really have to really choose that coach, that mentor. So going back to Bert's question, how do you improve your influence and impact in your industry? Be a mentor. Be someone's mentor. mentor. Letter M, meet a need. You gotta meet that need. What is that need that you're taking care of? Bert, his niche is teaching people how to start their own home health contracting business. That's his need. And letter E is educate. How does he do that? He educates us, his students, how to start our own business. How did he reach out to me? He has these videos, he has these courses, he's got all this stuff, So that's his education part. Letter N, he's networking. I wouldn't know him if he didn't network with somebody else that I knew. Network. Letter T, he's got a team. He's got a team of people who actually does this. Letter O, he does one-on-one coaching. And letter R is repeat. Repeat it all over again. That's what he did. Mentor. So that's how you improve your influence and impact. I'm gonna send the video back to Bert. Bert, you want to close?
Thanks, Mike, for sharing the mentor method. And guys, I want to leave you with something that you should really, really think about. And that is, you got to be stronger than your excuses. I'll say it again. You got to be stronger than your excuses. Enough is enough. All right? According to Jim Rohn, one of my favorite motivational speakers, bless his soul, if you really want something bad, you will find all the resources to make it happen. If you don't, you will find all the excuses you can come up with. All right? So, how bad do you want it? Thank you for joining us tonight here at iBusiness. Hope you join us again this coming Thursday. Mike, thank you for answering our questions and all the advices you gave us tonight. Guys, we will see you on Thursday. Thank you for joining us here at iBusiness. Good night.